For the first time in several months, I can honestly say the Titans had a good Sunday. Welcome back to another Titan Bros video. I am here, joined by my brother for the first time in a long time. Josiah, welcome in.
I have missed a lot lately, and I will warn you that I am a little under the weather now. So if I sound like a frog, there's a reason for that. And if you see me coughing up a lung, there's a reason for that. But I'm here finally to talk about what feels like a victory week for the Titans, but it is actually not. But it feels like it for the fan base.
I agree. It completely feels like a nice little victory for the Titans because I'll be honest, this is probably not a good thing because I'm guilty of this last year, and I'll go ahead and wrap myself out. That last game, Titans were sitting at 5-11 last year. And just knowing it was Tannehill's last game, knowing this was our goodbye to Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry always owned the Jaguars, I'll be honest, I was rooting for us to win that game.
Which we did.
But guess what? If we would have lost, we could have either gotten Joe Alt or Malik Neighbors.
And to be honest, both of them look pretty good. Now, I don't
look
mind
really
Jason
good.
Mayfield, but Joe Alt has looked good, and then Malik Neighbors looks
amazing.
Really
yeah,
with bad quarterback.
So we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, did it screw the franchise over? Possibly, but I just could not get myself to just want to see Tannehill and Henry after everything done with us for us just lose and then call it a season. I rooted for us to win. We got the win, and then that is what it is. This year, I'm not like that. There's no Mason Rudolph, not our future. Will Levis, not our future.
Bye.
I am fine with just as soon as 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago probably is when I'm like, okay, we need to lose out. And now that we hold the second overall pick, I am 100% on the let's lose out train.
What scares me is, this was a good Sunday for us. Titans lose to the Jags. Giants beat the the Colts, but we still have one more week we can screw ourselves over. We can still, beat the Texans, which is possible. It all depends on are they playing the starters or they not, but we shall see. But we can still screw ourselves over.
Which, according to Miko Ryans, they are playing their starters.
Oh, good. I didn't see that.
I agree. Now, hopefully he's not going to do it for 3 drives.
Yeah.
And then, get
I'm
10,
hoping
13 points.
Hopefully it's the half, and by that time we're losing 21-3 or something,
I agree. But wouldn't that be the worst thing? Actually, would it be the worst thing in the world? The Patriots, who have the number 1 pick, they are going against the Bills, and the Bills are talking like they will do the whole Josh Allen play 2 or 3 drives and then sit him. Yeah. Wouldn't it be terrible if the Patriots beat the backup Bills and then we also beat the Texans?
Yeah.
Because technically to get the first overall pick, that's all we need to happen. We just need the Patriots to beat the backup Bills and Titans need to lose. We have the first overall pick. That'd be fantastic.
That would be fantastic. First time in Titan history to be able to pick number 1. But in my opinion, we talked a little bit before the cameras were on. I would say one thing is the Patriots, I don't think is interested in a quarterback. They got Drake May. But I think that should help Titans in the sense that if we'll pick number 2, we should still be able to get whatever quarterback we want to get.
I agree. Now, obviously, we can have all kinds of conversations on whether you're all in or all out on Shedeur Sanders, partially in, Cam Ward. Obviously, at this point, everybody knows it's a 2-quarterback draft.
Yeah, it is.
Just Sanders and Ward. We can, go in depth on how we feel about these 2 options and whether we want them or whether we think it's just a great spot to be in to trade out of to a bad team and do like the Bears did to get Caleb Williams the next year. That would be
that worked out
amazing
for them, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen. No
yeah,
guarantee.
and Callahan and Rand's not going to be thinking that way either because they're thinking if we suck again,
they're fired.
No matter what our picks are, we're done.
You got to remember, Titan fans can say one thing, but Carl Thorne and Callahan, their number 1 thing is keep the jobs. You know what I mean? And So they're not going to be doing future moves right now,
Yeah, which that's a whole nother conversation in of itself, whether or not you want a quarterback to be drafted in the first round or not. If Callahan and Rand Carthon are on the hot seat, like a lot of people think they are, that might detour them from getting a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Like if Callahan's like, if we have a losing record, I'm fired. Do you think he's gonna be like, I want a rookie quarterback?
Yeah, that's possible. But he could also, and it depends on how Amy will look at this. But he could also think, though, if I have myself a rookie quarterback, that could give me an excuse of, well, we're still trying to grow him, and that's why we're losing right now. Because I thought almost though the opposite way, if we got someone like a Sam Darnold or something like that, and we was losing games, then there's no excuses whatsoever. And I think it'd be quicker for him to get fired if we're losing games with a veteran. If we brought in a Derek Carr or something like that, then that's a win now move. And if we don't win now, I think it'd be quicker to get fired, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that line of thinking, but I feel like when it comes to Amy, she's embarrassed with 6-11. She said it was an embarrassment and unacceptable.
Well,
So
how
she's
you
definitely
like
not.
3 and
That's
13?
she's definitely not happy with the 3-14. So I really feel like whether this is good or bad or indifferent or a little bit of both, I really feel like Callahan and Rand are going to feel the heat and they're going to push all the chips on the table.
And I'll say one thing. I'm not sure if this is Rand's fault, Callahan's fault, but it's got to be somebody's fault. Someone's got to be blamed here. But we put too much money in free agency to be this bad. And everyone had different opinions on how good we was going to be. Some people had playoffs. Some people was outside of playoffs. But I don't think anybody thought we was a 3-win team. No team puts 280 or whatever $1 million in free agency and expect to win 3 games. Like that makes no sense. You could pay nobody no kind of money and still win 3 games.
I mean, we were terrible last year.
Yep.
And we won 6 games.
Yeah, exactly. So, someone's to blame. I don't know who it is to blame for that, Cawthon, Callahan. But I mean, if I was Amy, I would understand why you would probably not be patient with this regime that we have right now.
Yeah, I'll be honest now. We're going to dive a little deeper into this after the season's officially over. We know where we're picking everything out. We'll just basically do a season review, which that might be a longer episode for us, but just be a season review. But the number one thing that I want to know about is where did we go wrong? And I've heard a lot of people, Buck Rising and several other people say it. This is inarguably a way better roster we have this year than last year. But we are a way worse football team this year than we were last year. What's the difference?
I think Callahan needs to cover up his ears when I say this. But I think Vrabel knew how to make us tough, scrappy, and we win games when we just didn't have the talent. But Vrabel knew how to do that. I think Callahan is a little more softer, and we don't know how to win games when we're not the most talented teams. Like Callahan does not bring that to the table that Vrabel did, and I do think. In Vrabel's credit, and he had flaws for sure, but that was something Vrabel was very good at. You look at the roster that he had, go against some other teams that was more talented, and we make it a good game or just win that game.
I mean, I agree. Titans under Vrabel had a magnificent record against the spread or against as underdogs. I think is actually what it was, as underdogs. So then here's a question. This is probably a conversation completely useless to have. But basically, you're saying, and you might be right, Titans were a better football team with Mike Vrabel as head coach. So if that's the case, did Amy absolutely make a big mistake in firing Mike Vrabel?
That's the thing, because I could say yes and no. I feel like Vrabel at the moment is a better head coach than Callahan. But I think at the same time, I understand why we made the move, because sadly, Vrabel was beginning to rub a lot of people the wrong way in the upper management. I really think Vrabel started wanting a little too much control. So I think there was some stuff other than just his coaching that was playing a part in him leaving. And I think that's why the move needed to happen. I think we needed a fresh start. And I wanted an offensive-minded guy. So I understand why the move happened. But as of right now, I'll say Callahan is a 3-13 coach, and I haven't seen too much that impressed me with him. So I think we are a worse team, but at the same time, I understand why the move happened.
Yeah, and I guess a possible answer to the question there could be it was the right move to fire Vrabel, but
Not right.
not the right replacement.
Yeah, and I would say I am curious to see what Callahan can do with a better quarterback because you gotta say he's had some bad quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph and Will Levis. It's hard to work with that, in my opinion. So,
I agree, but that goes back to the same conversation I had earlier, or we started talking about earlier. Is then can you expect a rookie to come here and do really good?
well, I think here's my opinion. I think Will Levis is trash, and I think Mason Rudolph he's got limitations. I would say that.
Yeah, he's
So
slow too. Did you see him trying to run?
yeah, he looks
He's
bad.
so slow.
But like this is my opinion. I think Shadio Sanders can play next week for us and be a better quarterback than both those two, in my humble opinion, and maybe even Cameron. That's how little respect I have for Will Levis. And Mason Rudolph, he's so blah. Like I'm not gonna say he's trash, but he's a backup quarterback for a reason. I'll say that. But I think Shadio Sanders is a lot better than the two quarterbacks we have right now. So I think Callahan could definitely do more. And now I haven't really dug into the tapes to figure this out, but I was just hearing someone else say it. But Will Levis' strong suits and what Callahan wants to do as an offense are two different things. So I think it also is a bad matchup between Will Levis and Callahan. Callahan is more of a West Coast offense, short, smart passes. Will Levis is more of a gunner, deep pass. Will Levis will look better in a Bruce Arians type of offense. And I just think that's a bad matchup. And again, Will Levis was not Callahan's guy. So sometimes you can have these problems when you're bringing a new head coach and you already have a quarterback there. You know what I mean? Because then you're trying to shape Will Levis into something that he's probably not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think Shadio is more of a Callahan type of quarterback. So I think that would be a better fit.
I mean, it'll definitely be a better fit, but at the same time, then that goes back to if Will Levis's style and Brian Callahan's offense, if those aren't a good mix, then is that another stain on Amy/Rain Carthon?
Probably. That's probably, I would say so. But but to be honest, to me, in my opinion, I think we probably was kind of dumb to ever pick Will Levis. I don't think Will Levis was ever good in college, and I don't think he was good in the NFL. And you and I mean, on draft day when we picked him, we was very upset about that. And I don't think we should have ever picked him. And to be honest, I don't think we should have picked a head coach to build around Will Levis. I don't think Will Levis was ever a NFL starting quarterback. So to be honest, I'm very happy that that experiment is over. And I think Callahan was bad this year, I mean, but I think he will I am curious to see what he will do with his quarterback, someone that fits his system better. I think it'd be fair to judge that Callahan than what we saw this year, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I think we'll have a better look at Callahan. Well, here's the thing: Will Levis obviously not Callahan's guy,
Yeah.
so we'll get the ability to see Callahan with his guy.
Yeah. And I would say, I understand why a lot of people, and me included, especially when I was in the heat of the moment, talked about getting rid of Callahan after 1 year. But I am actually curious to see what he would look like with his guy, with a guy that can run his offense the way he wants to. So I think if he has Shadir and we only win 3, 4, 5 games, then you can let him go. And I feel like we gave him a shot. But I think we gotta give him a little more of a shot to before we could just fire him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And by the Tom Pelissero report that came out, they saying he's safe for
Which
another
no,
year.
I didn't read the article, but I saw the article saying because the improvements they saw this year, and I did want to laugh a little bit. I'm like, I saw no improvements this year. I think we're just as much of a dumpster fire this year at the end of the year than we was at the beginning of the year. Because if you remember correctly, at the beginning of the year, Gable, we was like the first 2 games, we was one play away from winning it. We could have been 2-0, and then as the year went on, we got more and more ridiculously bad.
Yes, yeah, we did.
So
Now
I didn't see any improvement.
I will say one thing that you got to factor in also is linebacker's been a huge issue, and we traded away
Which
Ernest Jones.
I think that's
Ernest
a bad.
Jones. And then obviously we traded away DeAndre Hopkins, which I love DeAndre Hopkins. I loved him last year especially. But let's be honest, he's kind of washed. Because even with the Chiefs, he's only doing like 30 to 40 yards a game.
Yeah. Father Time tapped him on the shoulder, I think.
Father Time's undefeated, as they say. Well, is he 32 right now?
Yeah, I would say I wish Calvin Ridley had another receiver. I don't know if Calvin Ridley is a true number one.
I feel like he is a high end number two,
yep,
or a super low end number one. That's what I think. All right, so we're gonna do a brief break here because we actually are going to bring in a guest host we haven't had on our show in years.
Yeah,
he is another brother. Please, everybody, welcome in our brother, Titus.
Hey, glad to be here. Sorry I don't have the fancy microphone.
That's all right. You don't have the fancy camera either. You're a little grainy, but that's all right.
Well, it'll clear up, I hope.
maybe it will, maybe it won't. But yeah, he's coming all the way from Tennessee. We're sitting here, and I'm in West Virginia. He's in Maryland. We got 3 states represented here, all watching the same sucky football team.
State special, you can just title it that or hashtag.
Yeah. Right. So basically the conversation that we're having this evening is the fact that we're number 2, and the fact that we have 2 options here to either trade back, get more picks, and then sign a veteran quarterback, or we can draft either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, and we're trying to figure out which one we think might give a little more life extension for the Callahan era.
My thoughts, I think what the Titans should do is go ahead and utilize that top draft pick by getting them a young quarterback, and then try to be aggressive towards getting someone like Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, if those options are there, and potentially have this young quarterback develop behind one of those guys for a year or so, and maybe potentially if they show out in training camp, just have a position battle, because one of these guys may be able to jump right in and play.
So basically, you kind of want to do a little bit of both. Like some people want to go veteran quarterback, some people want to go rookie quarterback. You kind of want to. I think Sam Darnold's playing himself into way too expensive. He's going to be like $40 million a year probably at this point. So you're thinking like in your mind like Derek Carr versus Shedeur Sanders. And where Derek Carr starts 3 games and we start 1 and 2, and then they pull him and put in Shedeur for the rest of the year. That's kind of your take.
Yeah, you have a good point that Sam Darnold's going to be expensive. I would say Kirk Cousins wouldn't be so expensive, but somehow he ends up getting big deals wherever he goes. So
he's got a great agent.
So with that being said, yeah, you wouldn't want a position battle, and then you spend all this money on a guy that's going to be a backup and just a mentor in the background. But with that being said, if you trust the veteran that you pick up, then maybe just go confidently into the season saying this is our guy this year, potentially 2 years, and then this quarterback could take over after that. But both guys, I like what I see from them. Kirk Cousins, I feel like people give up on him a little bit fast or a little too quickly sometimes. But I like his energy and how I think we kind of need that. Will Levis has a good energy, but just too many mistakes and trying to do too much.
Yeah, Josiah hates Will Levis, which I understand. He just upset us so much this year.
I was done with him after that first pitch backhanded thing he did in week 1.
The surrender cobra.
Bad.
Yeah, it's just a surrender cobra. That's what they call it, which I'm not really sure if that makes any sense. But that's what it's called on the interwebs. But yeah, so I think there's us losing games at this point of the season is only a good thing. It's only a good thing because either 1, we're going to be able to get one of those quarterbacks that we may or may not want, or 2, it'll be ammo to trade back and we'll get all kinds of picks for it. Or if we decide to stick, we can pick somebody like Travis Hunter, which actually, here's a question for you two. I'm going to ask y'all. What is y'all's opinion? Like, let's just say if we only like Shedeur Sanders, and let's just say the Patriots, who have the number 1 pick, they trade out of it because they already have their quarterback. They trade it to, the Raiders. The Raiders come in, they pick up Shedeur Sanders, and the Titans don't like Cam Ward. Do y'all want Travis Hunter?
You first, guys.
You go ahead,
Is he
Steph.
frozen? Oh,
For a second, but no, I'm not completely opposed to that. I don't know. I just feel like at this for Callahan now, of course, he's not going to be all in the decision making here. It's going to be Randall on a lot of it, but I feel like he's not going to want to do anything too chancy. He's going to bring something in that he's confident in because he took already a chance with Will Levis and that didn't pan out, and it could possibly be Callahan. I think Callahan had something to do with it, but I think at the end of the day, he wasn't dealt a good hand when he came into Tennessee, and this is supposed to be the guy. So I feel like the decisions that he's going to make in this offseason, if he had all the choice, is going to be stuff that he's confident in that, yeah, this is going to be a safe bet. This is going to work. I don't want to take too much chance, if that makes sense.
yeah. Taking chances can get some early season losses, which could give him the axe.
For sure.
What's your opinion there, Josiah?
I think. Okay, real quick. Yeah. I think my problem with what's his name, Travis Hunter,
Travis Hunter.
is that I feel like he's a really good athlete. He could do receiver and cornerback, but I feel like if I wanted receiver, I might get someone that does receiver. Now he's a really good cornerback, and I think that's what he's going to stick to. But I don't know if I would want to get him in the sense that like he's a good at both, but in the NFL he's not going to do both. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, maybe I'm underselling him. But if I want a receiver, I'm going to get a receiver. If I want a cornerback, I'm going to get a cornerback. Because a lot of people talks like he's the number one pick that's not a quarterback. And I say, let someone else pick him. I'm going to get somebody else if I wanted a receiver.
I agree. And that's a take that I thought was kind of a hot take that I had. I don't actually want him because in the NFL, they're saying he's probably just going to be a corner. He might have some offensive packages like Adoree Jackson did.
Who gets a cornerback with a number one overall pick?
Who gets a cornerback with the number one overall pick? Second of all, I feel weird saying this out loud. Cornerback's one of our deepest, if not our deepest position. When Snead's back healthy, when Cheeto's back, and when healthy, when Cheeto's back healthy, when Roger McCreary's healthy, which because he got banged up a little bit here at the end of the year, and then even Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Darrell Baker, those are really good depth corners. Do we really need another corner with the second overall pick?
By the way, I'm a big fan of Brownlee. I think he shocks me. He shocked me this year how well he does now. He's got some stuff up for sure, but he is a rookie. But at the same time, I love the energy he brings to that defense. Him and Gibson, is that his name? The linebacker? Is that
Gifford?
Gifford, yeah.
Luke Gifford.
Those guys are guys that I didn't think a lot about in the offseason, but both is about the only energy we got on the defense, really.
Yeah, we definitely need more juice.
I agree. I think Brownlee Jr. is a really good fifth round. Is that what he was?
Fifth.
A good fifth round pick. Yeah, because there was with the injuries and stuff. I feel like he's actually, for being a rookie, a fifth round. He stepped into that position pretty good.
I agree. But back to Travis Hunter, us drafting him basically just means Jarvis Brownlee Jr. will never see the field. And then Cheeto Awuzie, who we paid 3 years, $36 million. He's making $12 million a year. He's just a backup now. Either that or Travis Hunter's a backup, and who uses a second overall pick for a corner to have as a backup?
Well, I say if we're not getting a quarterback, which to be honest, I think was silly if we don't get a quarterback. But if we're not, I want a tackle or a receiver. Like, I don't want a quarterback.
Or edge rusher.
Yeah.
I think our biggest issue with defense is the fact that these corners have to cover for 7 seconds.
Yeah, that was my question, though, is what's the chance the Titans go, maybe not first round, but pretty early on, go for offensive line, because we have the best offensive line coach in the league, and our offensive line is still terrible. So that says a lot about our offensive line of players. Now, we've gone early in the draft. I don't even know how long.
Back to back. 2 years in a row.
Last couple of years we've been going early, so it's we're not really getting what we're paying for here or what we're investing into this. But my question is, are we going to go early, maybe second round offensive line?
That might not be a bad idea. Go ahead.
Here's what I would say. What's weird though is we do have pieces on the offensive line that's not bad. Like I like Lloyd Cushenberry. He was really good center before he got hurt. I like Latham. He had some ups and downs as a rookie, but overall I thought he was good. And Peter Skoronski's okay. So really it's on one side. It's the right guard and right tackle. But I feel like if we and Brunskill is not a bad guard. If I feel like we keep Brunskill as a guard, and if we did draft to say a tackle, right tackle, that's a good offensive line right there, all of a sudden. So that does sound exciting a little bit to me if we get another tackle, because I'm like, we could have a pretty good offensive line all of a sudden.
I agree, but I will say I want to check the free agent listings because if I'm being honest with you, a high dollar veteran right tackle, I think could be a home run hit.
It could be. I know offense line usually goes real expensive in the
Yeah.
free agency. But with that being said, if we wait to the second round, your tackles go fast in the draft.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the second round, are you getting a first day starter kind of guy?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like tackles are so important now that by the time you get to the second round, you've already had like 9 tackles off the draft board. You know what I mean?
Yeah, actually, I think there's like 7 or 8 that went in the first round this year.
Yep.
Like Talise Fuaga and Marius Mims went to the Bengals, and then we got J.C. Latham, then obviously Joe Alt, and then Olu Fashanu went to the Jets. Like all those tackles went so stupid early in the first round. Honestly, just littered throughout the entire first round. But anyways, yeah, I could talk myself into us getting a right tackle. Actually, here's something that's interesting. Somebody actually asked Brian Callahan about this today. They said, is JC Latham a for sure left tackle? Like because I've heard the best tackle in this draft, he's probably like a 7th to 11th pick overall kind of guy, but he's a left tackle. So basically he asked him, like, is it possible, PK asked him, is it possible you draft him to be left and then move JC back over to right? And he's just basically like, all I'm focused on right now is just the Houston Texans in the next game. And then that's basically how he asked him. Yeah, because that's how he talks. Yeah. But
the only problem with that is that's not good for JC Latham's development. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that might throw him for a loop. But at the same time, it goes back to where he's more familiar. So I don't know. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And the whole point of this video, us having a higher draft pick is only good and fun for our offseason.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if any of y'all saw this. If we would have won that game, we would be picking at like pick 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Big swing.
Taz, let me ask you this question, because I may not ask you it before the draft. I don't know. But if let's say we stay pick 2, let's say at the end of week 18, we stay 2. Any chance you draft out of that to get more picks, or do you stay there or pick somebody?
It's definitely something you would want to shop around and see before you just get dead set on taking that second pick, because I do believe we're short on 1 pick, aren't we, in 1 round? I want to say.
Yeah, we don't have our 3rd again, right? Because we traded, for Snead. We traded our 3rd for Snead.
Yeah, you can get some real quality people in the 3rd round, and I do think we still have a number of holes to fill. So again, if we get a good enough, get an additional 2nd or a 3rd or something like that to kind of fill that void and bring in some more quality players that could potentially start this year, I think you can't just ignore that. You have to try to shop around, because not many seasons and over the years you're going to get a 2nd overall pick. So when you get there, you got to make the right call, and sometimes that is making that painful one of moving back, but you might be able to bring in a lot of good quality players.
My thing is to do that trade. I guess you should never say never, because what if they bring you an offer you can't refuse? You know what I mean? Something ridiculous. But me personally, I say you stay and you pick. Like, I want a quarterback. I know
we'll have more conversations later. We'll have more conversations about this later. But are you saying even if it's Cam Ward?
Yes.
That's where I will disagree with you. I would say if Shadour's there, you got to take him. For a small market team, you could get so many eyeballs, so many jersey sales, everything if you bring in a big name like Shedeur Sanders. All kinds of personality, some for the right reason, some for the wrong reason. But Cam Ward, I don't know, man. I feel like he's just your classic. I can run around real fast, real athletic. I can throw the ball really hard and really fast, but
I still say he's better than the 2 quarterbacks we have now. But that's
I agree. But 2nd overall pick, second. But I don't know.
I would say this: I am done with bridge quarterbacks. We've done our bridge quarterbacks. Let's get somebody that's supposed to be our future and build.
That was Will Levis. We did that for a year and a half. Actually, not even a year and a half.
He's a 2nd round quarterback, so it's not really like you call him a bust, a 2nd round quarterback.
Kind of, but remember, Rain Carthon was trying to trade back into the 1st round to get him, but nobody would trade with him.
That was done by Carthon.
Yeah. Well, technically, he was supposed to be top 5, top 6
Yeah.
pick, and nobody really knows. Besides, he sucked in college, but nobody really knows why he just decided to slide all the way into the second round. But anyways, I was telling myself I wouldn't get too far ahead with all these draft conversations, but here we are. I'm sorry, Ty, just go ahead with.
I want to say we have taken too many quarterbacks that are like, I'm not sure. Like, you get some of these guys in the first couple picks that we've seen other teams make, and you're like, yeah, this is their guy. They're going to go all in. But then we got Will Levis that were like, well, he didn't really do all that great in college, but maybe he'll, do well in the NFL. But you're like, why would he? And then you get like Malik Willis. We bring him in. We're like, okay, there's something maybe there, maybe not. I don't know. He didn't play in big college or something, so he didn't always have the best competition either. So there's just a lot of quarterbacks like that. And then, I think about even years and years ago, like Mettenberger, stuff like that. You're like, just a lot of
Luke Falk. Remember we brought in Luke Falk, Cole
Yeah,
McDonald.
Luke Falk was never supposed to be a quarterback for us.
He was like a 5th round pick, though, wasn't he? Like,
Was he?
actually, here's my opinion. And maybe this is a very harsh, set in stone, not allowing for nuance type of take. But to me, I don't want to take a quarterback that's not in the first round.
Well, I agree with that.
Because, like, think about it. In the second round, that means every team passed on that guy.
Yeah.
So it means if every team actually believed in this guy and thought he could be your franchise, he would have been taken in the first round. But the fact that everybody passed on him means nobody actually believes in him enough to be their franchise. That's just me.
I think the last time we was like, this is our guy, and it was Marcus Mariota. I believe so. Him and Jameis Winston was that year, and really only one of them still starting.
Is this crazy? That was 10 years ago. Because that was 2015, and here in not tomorrow, but the day after is going to be 2025. That was 10 years ago. We selected Marcus Mariota second
And
overall.
maybe I'm too much of a Mariota fan, but I still say if he went to the right team, he could have been good. I think Titans ruined him, in my opinion. I think he still could have been good if he went to like Andy Reid or something like that.
Spoiler alert: Titans were not the right team.
I think we were not good with quarterback development, and we were we ruined his confidence. Week 1, rookie, debut. He showed so much confidence, didn't question any of his throws. He just made it happen.
And if you remember correctly, his second year, he was 26 touchdowns and 9 picks. That's the second year.
Good numbers right there. But then he started hesitating more. He was doing less scrambling, just free to do what he needed to do. And put him on a short leash there, and you could see his confidence just plummet.
Yeah, I agree.
What my only concern is, well, I have a lot of concerns, but is Brian Callahan supposed to be a genius with offenses and quarterbacks, especially in development? I'm thinking Will Levis, I feel like, has enough talent to be able to do, like, he should be able to do something with that. And I didn't saw nothing. So I'm worried is really all that we think he is with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, we can hope he's the quarterback whisperer. But I guess
did y'all catch all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I put you solo because I wanted to make you feel awkward.
Okay. I saw everybody disappear.
Because I could do that to whoever I want to. See. Yeah.
I would say the question with what you said, Titus, is the question, was Callahan not what we thought he was, or was Will Levis just not something you can work with?
I would say Will Levis is just so stupid with the ball. But then I'm sure you all saw the stat all over the internet this week. But Will Levis and Mason Rudolph had the exact same passer rating. They both had the same amount of touchdowns to picks. They both had the same completion percentage. Basically, the exact same stats.
I saw that. That's weird.
And y'all probably know a little bit more than I know about this, but I'm trying to think. So what is they call him the quarterback whisperer, but what are the quarterbacks that he's worked with? I know Joe Burrows is one, and my point with that is Joe Burrows is going to be good probably without Callahan or with
Peyton Manning.
So,
he worked with Peyton Manning when he was in Denver.
Okay, yeah.
But
so
I think Peyton Manning was already a made man.
And he worked with Matt Stafford with the Lions.
So the question is, did he make the quarterbacks or the quarterbacks make him?
Right.
That's a solid question.
I think so. If he turned Will Levis to this great quarterback, I think we're like, okay, we can see what he can do. The quarterback whisperer. And I'm not giving up on him yet, but I'm just kind of wondering, is pretty much that quarterback taking out.
I would say I know Callahan fan or apologist, but I will say there was some plays, like I was watching it, that Callahan called a beautiful play, and the ball was supposed to go here, and the guy was open, and Will Levis just does not have the vision, and he just did not go right. I did see a lot of plays like that, so that is something that hopefully a better quarterback will see. Yes.
And yesterday we should have. I'm glad we didn't. Should have tied that game. Mason Rudolph missed the wide open Chigakonkwo, which would have been an easy walk-in touchdown.
Yeah.
But
so if we had, again, I'm not saying Callahan's great, but I think better quarterback play, he would have probably made Callahan look a little bit better.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, with that said, I feel like we could sit there because we've already been going for 35 minutes. We could probably ramble because we're actually so excited because we have the second overall pick. As long as we're going to lose, you might as well have a good pick to go with it. So I'm going to go ahead and call this thing.
Well, maybe we should try to get Titus in one more time before the draft, which I know is 4 months away. But
yeah,
just when things get a little more clarified, where everybody's at and all that stuff.
I'll check my schedule for the next 4 months and let y'all know.
I'm sure you have it all scheduled and laid out right there for you. So anybody got any parting words before they want to get out of here?
I just think second overall pick for the Tennessee Titans is probably the most exciting thing that has happened to them in a long time.
I agree.
I agree.
For yours.
Don't mess this up, Titans. Do not win on Sunday.
Pressure.
They may very well do that in those Tennessee Oilers baby blues. So I'm Gabriel Pilcher, Josiah Pilcher, and thank you for coming in, Titus Pilcher. Tighten up, peace out, and all that jazz.